We're live, babe. Babe, we're live.
What?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to also go find us on the Twitter and the Instagram. And most importantly, go visit the website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. When you're there, don't forget to push the contest button because that's where all the free stuff is. Boom. Look, we're live. I need to go share.
We're live, and everything I did to be prepared ahead of time messed up. So now I'm not prepared like I wanted to be. It's ridiculous.
That happens.
It does not happen.
It happens. We're live.
It shouldn't happen.
I'm going to go share. Write a post. Come watch the show.
Hi, children.
Hi.
I'm now grumpy.
Well, you're always grumpy, actually.
I'm not always grumpy. You're always grumpy.
Okay. All right. I'm going to close all my windows down. We're ready.
Let's go.
All right. We have a good variety of things to talk about, as always. Does this look too bright? Does the lighting look too bright?
I don't know, because I don't care about the lighting.
I care about the lighting.
I know
this
that.
has been consistently the thing I always care about the most.
And it's the thing that always matters the least.
It matters the most to me.
It matters to no
well,
one
it's a
but
little
you.
too bright. That's okay. At least it's
Then
not
wear
in the dark.
shades.
Like in the olden days, we used to be in the dark.
And it was just fine.
And then there was that one time that the light fell on me.
Which was even better.
Anyways. All right, what movie do you want to start with? We have a plethora.
I will let you pick. I don't care.
I'm going to tell you about a little movie that I watched.
Okay, let's do that because that sounds like something ridiculous.
It is something ridiculous. You're going to be like,
let's first talk about the movie that you've already seen that came out this week. We argued about it at the end of last show.
I didn't argue. I was just sharing that I was confused.
No. You told me. I have seen that, and you did this at me and everything.
I was confused. But we're not talking about that.
No, but we're gonna. Why can't we talk about it?
First, let's talk about this one.
Hold on, let's tell everybody why we can't talk about it.
Because I was confused. But we're going to talk about it next week after I watch it.
I want to know what were you confused? Why can't we talk about it?
Because I thought it was the exact same movie, but then you reminded me all of these little Christmas movies are the exact same.
And so what happened?
I was incorrect.
She has not seen the movie. I told her.
Anyways,
I told her she hadn't seen it.
We are talking about A Candy-Coated Christmas. Are you okay?
Go back there.
Sorry. We care more about the dog.
Did you say candy-coated Christmas?
A candy-coated Christmas.
Oh my God, this sounds like trash.
Okay, so this movie stars, I have to go find the little girl's name. This girl.
Is that cooking lady on it?
Yes. So this is Molly McCook. Yes.
Is that the Pioneer Woman?
Yes.
Oh God.
Who we know from the show.
Do we know her? This
girl, Molly McCook from she's the oldest sister on the show. Oh my gosh.
I don't know my glasses. Is that the one that replaced?
Yes.
From Last Man Standing?
Last Man Standing.
Okay, that's why I didn't.
And then how did you know Pioneer Woman shows up in this?
Because Pioneer Woman annoys me, and I can see her in the poster.
Oh, I love her.
She annoys me.
Anyways, basically, this girl comes to her hometown intending to sell her mom's old house, but then falls in love.
She comes to the Pioneer Woman's hometown?
Yes. No, it's her hometown also.
Does the Pioneer Woman play Pioneer Woman?
No, she just plays the baker in town.
Does she do any pioneering?
She doesn't, but she does a lot of baking.
Does she show any of her pioneer pottery stuff?
I don't know if it showed up. I know a lot of her recipes showed up on the thing. Anyways, of course, it's a normal Christmas movie. She falls in love, blah, 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 save the town. There you go. It is available now on the Netflix.
It sounds awful.
It's not. It's a super cute little movie. You should go
really
watch
even
it.
talk
Oh
about
no, it's on Discovery Plus. I apologize. Discovery Plus.
So some network nobody has.
I have it. I watch it all the time. I like Discovery Plus.
Because it's all trash television.
Anyways, there's a new Christmas movie every day. I like this one because Pioneer Woman was in it, and because this girl was in it.
My hair is all jacked up.
It's just a cute little movie. It's nothing like outstanding. No one's going to win any awards, but it is a cute little movie about family and Christmas and love.
I look like a mad scientist.
Anyways, let's
I have a receding hairline now, and my hair is sticking up. But look at it. Look at all messed up. I look like I've...
Well, you should comb it down.
You think I should do it like this?
No, you should do like a part and do this. Yes, there you go. You're going to look like you're on Okay. Sabine?
She in something?
Yes. I can hear the dog digging in the trash can as we speak.
I'll go deal with that.
Anyhow, cute movie. I liked it. You should go watch it. It is on Discovery Plus. Next, sir, where do you want to go? I uploaded our slides a different way, and I'm not sure that I really like it this way. It doesn't really make me happy. Okay, where do you want to go?
I don't care.
We have to pick one.
Oh.
Pick one from the list.
I don't have my glasses on. Can't see the list. So just pick anything. I think everything else we saw, right? Together?
Yes.
So just pick one. I'm okay. Oh, my hair looks awesome now.
Oh, Lord.
Look at the top of it.
You're such
Look at it.
a weirdo.
Look at it.
All right, let's go to something completely different. We're going here. I am going to totally switch my screens around. I'm going to turn the beat around. All right.
Look, now it looks like I'm from the 80s. I have Jonathan Taylor Thomas hair.
I don't even know
Look,
you right now.
I'm Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Oh my gosh.
The later years. Since you talk about Tim Allen.
Okay, here.
I'm
That's where we're going.
I'm Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Is there a bald spot right in the middle of my head right there?
No, your hair is just, your little head is thin.
I know my hair has always been thin, even when I was a kid. My best friend used to tell me all the time, he goes, "You're going to go bald."
And guess what? You're not.
He always had like really thick hair, and I always had really thin hair even as a kid.
Isn't he also Mexican?
He's half.
So you gotta let that part go.
I know that.
We got lots of hair.
I told him that. That's because you're Hispanic. And then he'd always say, "Your dad's bald, and your mom doesn't. His hair's thinning, so you're going to be bald." And so here I am, all these years later, with mad scientist hair.
Okay, we're going here.
I talked to him today too.
All right,
moving on.
We're going here. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Are you with me?
I'm with you.
Lord have mercy. The next thing we were talking about is the Beatles.
It's the Beatles.
And so there is a new documentary on Disney Plus. And it is the Beatles, what?
Get back.
Get back.
To get back or something like that.
Get back. Get back.
It's essentially, they had sent me a screening link thing for it. So neither one of us are real big Beatle fans.
Well, and I'm finding out, I think I am. I just.
Well, see, my whole thing with the Beatles, and I can argue, I know people are huge fans. I respect and understand what they did with music at the time. I understand their influences. I know they're all extremely talented. They're iconic, all that stuff. I just am not a fan of most of their music. It all sounds the same to me. And I do know there were differences in the things they did. So I'm not saying everything's saying it's not like a Jimmy Stewart or bands, but it just never clicked for me. That being said, we had watched the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Correct.
And of course, after talking about that, we decided we should revisit stuff. So then they sent me the screening link to the thing. And we're going to sit and watch it. We thought it was a movie. No.
Sorry.
If you're going to go on camera, ratings will skyrocket.
No, there's a thing right here. Do you ever feel that? Like you got just a random thing stuck?
Yeah, but usually you got a pillow on my face.
Yeah, and then we found out it was like a 6-hour documentary.
Yeah, we thought it was a movie.
Like,
we were watching
okay.
It, and it was late at night. We're like, I guess not, because this is a documentary series. It's 3 episodes. Each one's about 2 to 3 hours long.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting.
And it's done by Peter Jackson. And it's not the biography of the Beatles, which I thought that's what we thought it was as well.
Correct.
But it's actually about recording this Get Back album / live TV show / tour. Live performance. So it kind of does the first episode does a real quick recap of their history to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's basically a compilation of actual recordings, audio, video. There's some stuff that only had audio, so that audio they place photos or something there.
Yeah.
It was Peter Jackson, right? Yes. Peter Jackson made this. Who did Lord of the Rings.
And I was always like, oh, no wonder it's so long. It's that guy.
But it's kind of cool. It's even if you don't like the music, you're sitting there just watching
I actually know pretty much all these songs so far in the first section that we've watched, except for maybe 2. So yeah. I'm actually more of a fan than I realized.
Right. Well, that happens to you all the time. I talk to you about a band and you're like, I don't know who that is.
But then I know the song.
I play the songs. You're like, oh, I love those songs.
And I specifically remember we had a Bert and Ernie little radio. like a little, like legit little radio, right? AM, FM radio. And I specifically remember listening to Yellow Submarine. It came on the radio with my brother. And so I do have memories of who the Beatles are, but I'm just telling you, I was a child.
See, my parents were big time country people, country fans. So I grew up around country music, and so all my influences of my own music were my own finding through friends and whatever, which is amazing that I went from living in a country household to go so far left into the hip hop world.
But it's all related.
It is stories. It is. It's
and all that's the same thing like with Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg likes country, and he likes Mexican,
he likes all music.
Rancheras and banda, which is the same as country technically, it's telling the stories.
But I have found I've over the years I've found like I like a wide variety of music. Correct. My go-to music is always the rap and hip hop stuff, and then the close second is the heavy metal. And I'm not even like you heavy metal with Poison and rock and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I was hair bands.
I like Metallica, but then I also jump into Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson and that stuff.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is just the randomness of each song. Like I like to go all the way back to Tennessee Ernie Ford.
Yeah.
And like him. But not, I hate Garth Brooks, so it's
I like a little bit of this and that.
It's just that eclectic variety of stuff. And a lot of the music I realized that I discovered outside of like a lot of people hearing him in movies or whatnot, it was the sampling I'd hear in a hip hop song that I'd hear that song somewhere else and be like, oh, I dig that song.
That happened not the other day, but like a few weeks ago. You're like, wait a minute, that was a real song. I was like, yeah, from the 60s, dude.
Yeah, and you still discover the thing. The difference, I think, between our generation and the current generation now is we understood what sampling meant. So we'd hear something, we knew that was another song. It wasn't like
hey, they're gonna make this guy famous.
Yeah, if you don't know the story, was it Post Malone?
Yes.
Post Malone did a song with Paul McCartney, which is related to the Beatles here, and it exploded on the internet about how all these people were talking about. I don't know who this old guy is, but Post Malone is gonna make this guy famous, and we were like, okay, kids.
And it's actually interesting. That's so
They did the same thing with Post Malone and Ozzy Osbourne, too.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm like, wow.
It's interesting, though, because as you're watching this, I pulled one of the candid shots instead of just the plain poster of them performing because it's interesting because McCartney, you can tell, is kind of the leader.
He's the de facto leader. Him and Lennon were the de facto leaders of the thing, but McCartney really runs it seems.
I know, but then when you research it, like George Harrison had a lot to do with a lot of the songs they wrote. But then McCartney and Lennon wrote a lot together.
Yeah.
And they're going through this. And
McCartney and Lennon started the whole thing together, too. So.
And they're trying to go through and figure out, okay, what songs it all needs to be brand new stuff. We're going to do this show, and it's going to be a live recorded album. What are we going to do?
I think they had
he said 100 songs that they had just written and never done anything with.
Right, but they only had 14 days?
They had 14 days
14 songs or something?
Yes. And so you see them, and I like that they're very British. They don't argue the way we argue.
Very British.
They don't argue how we argue.
Yeah.
Like he and George Harrison
at one point
get into it, and he's like, well, then tell me what you want to do. He's like, I don't want to tell you what I would do. I'm telling you how my process works. He's like, that's not how my process works.
That's what makes this compelling.
So
it's not the music that makes this so compelling. Is watching these people that are icons in the industry and clearly insanely talented musicians and songwriters, and watching them collaborate and how each of them thinks so differently. Because on John Lennon's and George Harrison are both kind of pacifists. Even Harrison more so, who was with the Buddhists and
don't have to get there.
Yeah,
hold on.
And so seeing how their arguments aren't arguments like you're saying.
Yeah, and he's just like, well, then just tell me what you want to do.
He's getting irritated because he wants.
He's like, I don't want to tell you what to do.
But
tell me.
But it's the way people should interact. It's he's irritated, but he's like, I feel like I'm the only one, because I feel like I'm the only one that cares. And there's one discussion of him and Harrison saying, Harrison's like, it's not that you don't care. He goes, I work out things a certain way. You work out things a certain way. So he goes, let's work them out our own ways and bring them back together because we're not getting anywhere. And he goes, but I want to make sure everybody cares. And Lennon's like, we're not doing anything, and it's interesting just watching the casual conversations because they're not filming this like they told them, let's film us, watch us, and play it up the camera. These are some other documentary guys just following around. And there's even one point is like, hey, if you get to the mic, we can probably hear you better. Like, oh, do we care about that?
They're like, no, we're trying to do an album. And then at one point, there was this dude. I'm like, oh, it's a Hare Krishna dude because he's just sitting there with his little shaved head. And
we automatically assumed he was with Lennon.
Yeah, and then we're like, oh no, that's George Harrison because he's the one that wrote My Sweet Lord.
Right.
And then suddenly there's two dudes
it's like they're
in there, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
When you get there, we're wondering if we haven't finished the whole thing.
We're gonna finish.
Wondering if there's gonna be a whole stadium of them.
I think the most interesting and poignant and bizarre and weird thing though is seeing Yoko there.
Yeah.
Just sitting there, just doing everything.
Knowing she jacked the Beatles up.
She's taking notes at sometimes she's sewing a pair of pants. Sometimes she's bringing them sandwiches. Sometimes she's just sitting there. She came back from shopping. I mean, it's just random. Like she's just there, but no one acknowledges her.
Yeah, it's like she doesn't exist. And I like that we get to see a lot of, forget the band part. I like that we get to see a lot of like the roadies and the personal assistants. Like they're walking in and asking if you want sandwiches, and you can see them walking over and like changing things out without being told.
Yeah, they know. They know their people.
You can tell they know what they're working on. Like they come over and they'll like just pick up a guitar and put a different guitar down and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting just watching the process, which is all this is a process.
It is. It's interesting. I'm waiting till we get to the concert, but I think another one that's very like interesting in such a different way is Ringo.
Yeah,
because he's very mellow. He did help write some stuff and sing some stuff,
and he doesn't seem to say much. He just sits there and stares and listens.
Yeah, he listens and he waits for consensus, and then he takes. I think Paul McCartney is pretty much a genius because he's hearing it in his head and he's like, Ringo do, and Ringo does it. He's like, okay, cool. Then he moves on, and I think all of them though are so smart and so intricate in their music because they're like, oh, go to G. He's like, no, go to B flat. That's the stuff that's
always baffling to me is because I'm not somebody that's big in music, obviously, but this is similar in my martial arts mentality.
Yeah.
Whereas I can see somebody move and you see like a foot twist. Like a lot of times we'll go through the black belts and they'll all give opinions about somebody. And I assume I'm not going to have to say a word because somebody's going to correct everything I saw. Then you go down 4 of them and nobody says the thing I saw, which to me was the biggest deal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, when you did this, your hip was turned slightly to the left, your foot came up this way and you turned this way, and then you changed it changed the dynamic. It would have fixed most of the issues that everybody else had. And it was amazing when they're talking, they're like, are you going to do G or A? Why are you doing that in B? It's whatever the letters are. And him being able to hear it as fast as he does on just quick notes. Yeah. And to me, that doesn't mean anything.
Oh, it means something.
No, I know, but I'm saying to me, I don't hear anything these days, but I don't hear the notes and the tones and stuff. I hear this is good or this is bad.
And I think too, since I'm the Partridge Family person here. So my family's a band. We've always been in a band. We've always been musical. And I think the one thing that I'm noticing that they do that we do is when you're in a group or a family unit like this, because to them at this point, this family have been together for whatever 20 years or whatever. You learn the other people and you know what the other people can do and you know how the other people sound, and there's a shorthand to it. So like if I'm singing something or I'm trying to get with my brother for a new song, and I'll be like, I think it goes into a fifth right here, and I hold a note until he finds it. I'm like, okay, you got it, get it. Okay, go. And so then we get it. So I don't know what the note is, but I'm just telling him, okay, it's going to be a weird fifth diminished chord that we don't normally hit. Or, hey, this is a minor note. Or I can tell when I'm singing with my mom, I'm like, okay, you go down, I'll go up. And so we just get it, and it becomes a shorthand. And I think that's just, they're genius. They're way smarter than I am. I mean, in any of that. And they all play multiple instruments.
Right. When I was looking up some George Harrison stuff, I think it was his wife had mentioned it, said that they weren't a band. They were a communal family. So it's like they existed as one thing. It wasn't an individual thing.
Correct.
Even though they all became superstars separately.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with how great each one of them was by themselves, they said together there wasn't it wasn't just a family, it wasn't just a band, it was like they were one unit. Mm-hmm. And they existed for and with because of each other. And
I think at this point in the career, it's interesting, a lot of you'll see they're writing lyrics and they're writing notes, and they're still signing it, not the Beatles, they're still signing it from like the Journeyman or whatever their original name was, because like the fame and stuff that had come and gone at this point, they were like, oh yeah, we were the Beatles, cool, now we're at this point in our lives. it wasn't about that to them. It was about just putting out good music.
Yeah, cause wasn't it McCartney? I think in there at one point he goes, "I'm not doing this for money. I don't care about the money."
Yeah, he didn't care about that. He wants to do good music.
Because there's a great discussion when they're arguing about should they even do this at this point, and this is like 3-4 days, whatever, 6 days into rehearsals, and he's talking about, I feel like I'm the only one that cares, and everybody else is just playing along, and they're like, no, we care, and he's like, if we're just doing this for the money, we shouldn't be doing this. We should get out of here.
Quarrymen. Sorry, I correct myself.
The
Quarrymen.
Oh.
Because he would still sign some of his stuff that way. Because it wasn't about being the Beatles. It was about being rich and famous. He's like, we've already done that.
Yeah, he goes, we don't want to go out and be the same thing. We don't want to go out and just cashing a check. If we don't go out there because we care about our music and are putting something out that sets us apart or is worth us doing it, he goes, then let's just go home.
Yeah.
And you've got to be somewhere in your life, whether it's financially or mentally, to be willing to walk away from something like this that people had already poured money into. And it also is interesting because of the time period. Nowadays, international stars are in the U.S. and everywhere else, and they're all treated just as big as the other, depending on how at least what we see.
Yeah.
But there's a moment where they're talking about wanting to have better microphones and recording this, and they're like, well, can't you bring in such and such and such? No, they said they did it for the Beach Boys. He goes, yeah, but they were American. So it's like.
And so at some point, was it George Harrison that brought in his own personal equipment?
I think so.
And he's like, please be careful with this. He's like, this is like however many $100 million or whatever at that. Well, in our thousands, probably by now, probably $1 million. But
it's interesting.
It's interesting.
I say little documentary. It's like 6 hours long. But it is broken up into 3 movies, so you don't have to sit in 6 hours and watch it.
It's really interesting.
It is. So whether you like the music, like the Beatles or not, it is intriguing. See, it's intriguing to see geniuses at work. Because I even if beforehand, I'll admit to this. If I walked into this beforehand, which I didn't, because I already had a respect for them, just because I don't like their music doesn't mean I don't respect them. Like, unlike the Elvis situation, like I'm not a fan of Elvis either. Yes. I recognize what Elvis did at the time, but I still don't think Elvis was super talented. I think he was a niche for the time. And there were so many other people. He just happened to catch that market with the sexual thing and the look and the vibe and stealing black people's music and all the stuff that he did at the time. Had he come out a little bit later, he wouldn't have been as famous.
Correct, maybe.
Where they, I think, are full on, clearly artists, and going into this, whether you had under knowledge of the Beatles or not and hated their music, I don't think you can go in and out of this without at least learning to respect them as the artists and the geniuses they are in what they do.
Yeah.
Just because you don't like what they made doesn't change it. Like, I'm not a fan of whatever eyebrow lady, Frida, but she's a good artist,
She was.
So
for her time and what she did.
You got to be able to recognize it.
Are we going to go to that Frida Expo thing?
I guess. I don't think it's the same person. I don't think it's her. I think it's a guy. I think it's a different Frida.
No.
Are you sure? Because when I looked at it, it had this guy. He said Frida. Some other.
A Frida Kahlo thing.
I know it was another immersive thing, but unless it was just a guy putting it together, it was on there.
Immersive experience. New immersive Frida Kahlo experience.
Wait, click on the thing because there was a picture of some guy in the ad.
Oh, here it is. Hold on. Let me go back to this one. Let me go back. Frida immersive. We went to that Van Gogh immersive experience.
We'll look at this.
Look, it's a Frida Kahlo.
I'll show you the thing I'm talking about later on.
Okay.
We'll go back to it.
Anywho. What are you talking about?
Go ahead.
Is that what you're telling me?
Moving on. We'll go back to this in a minute. This is not something to do while we're on.
Anyways, check out the Beatles documentary. It is on Disney Plus now.
That's right.
Okay, now where do you want to go?
I don't care. You keep picking, my love. Pick us. 1, 2, 3, go.
Let's go here.
Okay. This next one's one that I've actually been kind of looking forward to because I heard about it a while back. It was a movie that I believe, I don't remember if it was Joe Carnahan or Nis Cassavetes. One of those guys were supposed to make the movie, I believe. And it was supposed to star Blake Lively, I believe. But then that got scrapped. But instead, Halle Berry stepped in to direct the movie, and she stars in this movie called Bruised. It is a Netflix movie. And I was excited to see it because, it was, if you had asked me a few years ago, I wouldn't have been as excited. Not because I don't like Halle Berry, I do. But this is about an MMA fighter. And sometimes it's hard to picture certain people as that kind of person. And Halle Berry, while she's done some action stuff, she still didn't come off to me as MMA style. Right. But her badassery in John Wick 3 kind of mentally changed that for me, that I could see her carrying an action movie. I could see her. Prior to that, you just see her in stuff like Catwoman, James Bond movies, things like this, where she did action. She comes out of the water. Yeah, where she did action, but it wasn't.
Yo, she was for real in John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick 3, she showed, okay, I got this. I take it serious. So I was fully excited to see this movie when they sent it to us. I don't know if you knew much about it, did you?
No, I didn't know anything. You're like, it's Halle Berry fighting. I'm like, I'm in.
And now the story, I knew what the story was about. A disgraced MMA fighter. I didn't know why she was disgraced. I assumed she had just lost the fight and had lost everything and was starting over. And then a kid I guess she knew she had, but she had walked away from, shows back up in her life, and that's the story we're dealing with. A down in her ex-pro fighter that was famous, not like just a fighter on the street, an actual UFC fighter, and then a son that she didn't have any kind of association with.
Correct.
Or brought back together.
Correct.
And that's where we're at.
Correct.
So, what did you think of said film?
I really enjoyed this movie. I mean,
I love that your steak almost every time you say you like something. I really enjoyed this.
I really enjoyed it.
Did you really enjoy it?
I did. Okay. I think one of the things I liked about it is that it's more of the gritty kind of.
It's a dirty movie.
Fighting your way back. No, but it's everybody's dirty and they need to take a shower, and
there's a lot of drug use and
environment they're in is dirty and gross, and there's abuse and there's yelling and there's all of this just trying to claw your way back.
And Halle Berry is not hot in this movie.
No.
But she's not supposed to be.
No.
And I know that sounds silly.
I like that it's real.
I like that I know it sounds silly because in reality you shouldn't look at anybody like that. But I always appreciate when a female actress, especially the ones that are known for their beauty and people always associate as being this beautiful, that take on a role that not only downplays that beauty factor, but makes it a real thing. Because most real life beautiful women, we don't see them on Vogue and all these things. You see them in the street, and sometimes they look like they're in their sweatpants and they're chilling out. And then the other day they're made up. And this movie is that lady she probably dolled up at some point, but now she's on the bottom. And she looks kind of dirty, like you said. She looks kind of down out. She's got a drinking problem. And she's not somebody you would look at and be like, No. She'd be like, that's a problem.
No, but and I like it. And I think the other thing that I really like is that it's real in the training aspects, in the fighting aspects. She's doing all these drills and stuff, and you're like, yeah, because you've done some of that stuff. And so I liked that she actually went all in on this, and I feel like she really did it.
Well, I've heard that she's a massive MMA fan.
Okay, cool.
And so that was part of the reason I wanted to make the movie, is because she loves MMA so much. So, and probably, no doubt from the training, we've seen the videos and stuff of her training for John Wick. There's no doubt the training she did for this movie. And I like the fact that she's believable enough in the movie. Like, she's not a dynamic fighter in the movie. She's not doing fancy techniques and crazy stuff, John Wick style.
Correct.
But she's believable enough to where you can see that in the movie, obviously I can see flaws in the way they strike or they do this or they do that. But you can see that you can buy into that she's a fighter.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And the people she fights against, which some of them probably are actual fighters, but
yeah,
you can buy into their fights and you can buy into the way they handle it. She's also not this unbeatable machine like they like to portray in a lot of Hollywood films. She gets her ass handed to her a few times. Mm-hmm. And her reasoning for being a disgraced fighter was, what? Because, it's the idea you think, but what they do and how they shoot that scene is clever.
Crazy.
And something I don't think we've ever seen, unless I'm going to have to look up and let's see if that was based
if
on something
anybody's
that's
ever
actually
done that. Yeah, because, then you're done. Yeah. You are done. It's crazy. I don't know. This movie was a little bit crazy and
very sad, too. It's
over the top at times with all the fighting and stuff. And I'm like, ooh.
Well, I
liked it.
I was kind of expecting, I guess, because I didn't really know the depth of the story.
Yeah.
I was expecting a lot of the training and a lot of fighting. And that's there.
Yeah.
But this movie is so much more to it because it's about it. This movie is very Rocky.
Yes.
It's if Rocky was an alcoholic and had already had his shot, it'd be like what is it, Rocky 4, Rocky 5 that no one likes.
Yes.
He's already had his shot. he's not a fighter anymore. He's not famous anymore. He has his restaurant, so he's still doing fine. But take the restaurant away from him, make Rocky an alcoholic. That's kind of where this movie goes.
Where we're at.
Trying to find her way back, and the cast of characters she deals with, and the people she's part of. There's everything from drug abuse. There's abuse.
Mm-hmm.
There's some love. There's happiness. There's violence. There's a little bit of everything in a heavy ass movie.
It is very heavy, and I think through the story with her, like her mom and her son, is sad, and it goes somewhere. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, okay, I see what's going on.
What are you doing over there?
I was reading an interview about her. It's just crazy. The thing is crazy.
It's a really good movie.
It's
like
good,
I said, it is a downer of a movie. It's not, and even the fighting, it's not overly exciting. But it's not really supposed to be. It's trying to keep it grounded as much as possible while still showcasing the fights and the violence and everything in between that they do. The spectacle of it all, but also playing off what's more important. Because even the way it ends is interesting because it has a very Rocky IV ending.
Yes.
And I'm not going to tell you if it's Rocky IV original or Rocky IV new one. But it has...
The new one's good.
It is. It has a very Rocky IV ending idea. But then I love the final sequence of the movie is actually, it takes you away from everything you've gone before it and shows you what's more important. And I love the way that kind of twisted at the end.
Okay, so she did do all her own training and stuff. She had to do the weight cut. She was sauna suiting it. She got her rib broken on one of the fights and one of the kicks, but she didn't say anything because she knew they'd shut down production. So she just went through it, man. And I like that. I like when people actually really do it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you can tell.
Well, they keep saying she's supposed to get a spinoff movie from John Wick.
I hope
she was supposed to get a spinoff movie from James Bond, and it never happened.
Well,
of course, the downside is now that she's directed, she also says she wants another crack at a Catwoman movie. She needs to don't do that unless she directs it.
If she directs it,
her directing it and let them do something more of the newer model of Catwoman, not do what.
Oh, I do the new comic version.
Maybe I don't like Catwoman either way. I'm not a fan of the comic either, but just not that movie.
Yeah. Anyways, you need to check out the movie Bruised. It is so good. Now, if you're going to be one of those people, they're like, when people are fighting, then it may not be for you.
Yeah, there's some blood.
There is. And then if you're going to be one of those weirdo guys, it's like women shouldn't be fighting. Well, then it's not for you either, buddy. I've had that before.
There's not too many of those anymore. Most of them have kind of started.
I don't know.
At least, let me rephrase that. At least in the martial arts
I've come across that.
The martial arts / fight world, I've come across it. The people not in that world, yes, that's still. But if it makes you feel better, I got that when I was a kid too.
What?
That I shouldn't be doing martial arts and I shouldn't be fighting. It's too dangerous and this and that. And my grandmother used to give me lectures and yell at my parents all the time about why is he in that? He's going to get hurt. He should not be doing that.
Yeah, you're going to get hurt.
That's not the proper thing for kids to be doing and this. It's not okay. And blah, 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 blah. And then when I got older, she's like, can you come over and kick this guy in the face?
Well, I'm just going to tell you, we've told this to kids before in class. Guess what? You're going to get hit.
Can I just tell you, I just want to say the funniest thing is, there is that cliche thing is you always have a good plan until you get punched in the face. And which is true. Everything goes to crap until you're used to it. But one of my favorite student stories that I ever had of somebody that came to a class is I had an adult man who came to my class. I was talking to him, telling him how we do classes, this and that. And when you go to a class, you don't really know what you're expecting. And not every class works for everybody.
Crazy.
I'm a firm believer. If you come to my class and it doesn't work for what you're looking for, find someone else.
That's okay.
Go get what you need.
You got to find the class where you feel
Because if you don't vibe with the instructors or the environment or whatever, you're wasting your time. And I had this guy, and he was like, I want a really hard class. I want to be pushed. I want this. I don't want none of this just play, tippy taps. I said, you're in the right place, sir. We hit each other. We work hard. Sometimes there's kids, and there's a lot of kids. Obviously, you don't get to hit as hard, but you'll have days when we do that. He goes, all right. So he started class. He did class for about, I think, 2 weeks, and then he stopped coming.
Yeah.
And I remember going, where is this guy? He was doing really good. He seemed to be all in. And then I saw him at the center, and he was walking the track. And I was like, hey, man, hey. I'm assuming he's walking the track before class starts because he's all in.
Yeah.
And he's like, I said, hey, you coming to class? I hadn't seen you. He goes, oh, no. He goes, your class was a little too violent, too aggressive. I said, we had an entire talk about how you wanted it aggressive.
I don't think our class is aggressive.
And this was years ago.
Oh, okay.
But he was like,
well, then it maybe was.
And that's back when we had like the 30, 50 people and everybody was fighting and everything. But he was like giving this whole spiel, and that's what happens. A lot of them have the idea until you walk in. You know, and I tell parents all the time, it's like the idea of doing the martial arts of any kind is awesome when you want to be a Ninja Turtle or a Karate Kid or a Power Ranger or whatever the thing of that year is. And then when you figure out the work it's involved, it's not as awesome.
Yeah.
Depend on your mentality.
And I think the funniest thing is either when the kids or the parents are like, when they're fighting, they're like, they're getting hit. I'm like, yeah, they're fighting.
Yeah,
you're gonna get hit.
You know, we have a big test every year where people test for black belts and different things. And I had 3 teenage guys test for black belt. Every one of them left that thing with blood on their face and marks and bruises and whatever. And I had a couple of parents go, I didn't know y'all were this aggressive.
I didn't think it was aggressive.
They're not this aggressive yet, but this is what they're building towards.
I didn't think it was.
And I've had students that quit because they see that kind of test. And
they're like,
I purposely have them come to those tests because I was like, this is your future.
Yep.
If you stay, can you do this or can you not? If you can't do it, I love you. You're fine. We can be friends, but this ain't the place for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's part of it.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay, sorry. We got off into a martial arts tangent.
But it is connected to Bruised. Bruised is available now on Netflix.
Okay. You want to talk? Let's talk about this.
Next, let's dive into our first, technically, I guess, my first Christmas movie. You've already been watching.
I've been watching Christmas movies.
You just talked about a horrible one today. The movie called 8-Bit Christmas is an HBO Max exclusive. Did not do a theatrical release.
Correct.
This is one it was funny. I saw a poster for this and I heard about it. I'm like, I don't really care about watching this movie. It sounds dumb. Then I realized, okay, it's about somebody wanting a Nintendo. Okay, I'm a little more interested. Then I realized there was a kid from what is his name? I just told you. The little kid, Tommy Danger.
Oh my gosh, Tommy Danger.
Is it Danger?
I think so. Hold on.
Timmy Danger?
Timmy.
And the kid with the polar bear?
Yes.
Anyway, it was that kid, and Neil Patrick Harris was the narrator playing him growing up. The movie is essentially, it's the story of this kid in the 80s, and it's when Nintendo came out. And everybody wants a Nintendo. And it's all about this story of a kid who wants a Nintendo for Christmas. The movie is essentially a mashup of a Jingle All the Way, A Christmas Story, and Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
I thought it was very Christmas story.
The story is almost identical to A Christmas Story, but the characters are very much like Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
I don't know what that movie was.
Tommy Danger. There it is.
Where?
Henry Danger.
Henry Danger.
I don't know. No, Henry Danger is a different show. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, his name's Fregley or Fegley or something like that.
No, that's from Wimpy Kid.
No, I'm playing the real actor.
Oh.
Go to the thing and look.
Goodness. Okay, sorry, we got sidetracked.
Anyway,
doesn't matter.
But the cast of the kids reminded me of Diary of a Wimpy Kid story. The
story.
The fight to get the Nintendo reminds me of Jingle All the Way, but the overall tone and some of the direct story elements are full on a Christmas story. And it almost makes me feel like maybe they were doing a homage to the Christmas story when they made this movie. Because I mean, there's a lot of exact moments from A Christmas Story in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And normally that would irritate me because I'd feel like, see? Fegley. See?
I got it.
Winslow Fegley.
Timmy Failure.
Timmy Failure.
Not Danger.
All right.
But Timmy Failure.
Henry Danger,
so
I think,
cute.
is a Nickelodeon show.
I don't know any of that stuff.
Anyway,
this movie is super cute.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
I wasn't really on board. I was like, okay, whatever.
You only were willing to watch it because Neil Patrick Harris was in
it. No, because it was about Nintendo, and then we started talking about Atari, and then I got all sidetracked. I was like, yeah, let's go.
Nintendo. Yeah, and this was one, like I said, usually it irritates me because I love A Christmas Story, and when people start just blatantly using scenes and stuff, I'm like, I'm out. That's kind of stupid. But this movie works so well because it looks like everybody seems to be having a blast to make it. The characters are fun. They're ridiculous. The 80s nostalgia of Nintendo reminded me of my own childhood when I got my Nintendo. Made us talk about when you got y'all's Nintendo, and there's elements that.
I think it was a glove.
Oh yeah, when they talk about the power glove,
and you immediately you're like, that glove sucked. You're yelling at the TV.
So there's and that made me happy because there's a whole sequence about the glove and how it's trash, and I'm like, yes, they got it.
So funny.
But
it's ridiculous.
It is. It's over the top. It's crazy. The kids are awesome. And there's always that one weird kid that I love. The kid in this one reminds me of the kid in A Christmas Story. He's like, I like the Wizard of Oz, and he almost looks like that kid. Yes. He has the hat, but he's in a different setting, and this movie could have easily been the same characters from Christmas Story in the 80s. Yeah. But
I like this one much better than Christmas Story, personally.
I wouldn't go that crazy far.
I'm not a huge fan of Christmas Story like you.
You don't know.
Because I don't know. But I really liked this movie. It is so much fun. So you need to watch it right now.
It is excellent.
It is really
It's a fun movie for the whole family. It's got heart. It's got adventure. It's got ridiculousness. It's got bullies. It's got weirdos. It's got the 80s, the Nintendo, and all the things that we love.
It's the best.
So you can watch it right now on HBO Max exclusively. If you don't have HBO Max, I apologize, and you can't watch it.
I mean, that's all there is.
That's all the options. HBO Max. I can't give you other options that I don't have.
So funny.
Moving on.
All right. I guess we have to go here first, then here.
Whatever you want.
You want to go there?
I don't care.
That came out first, right?
They all came out at the same time. All of them came out on Wednesday.
Well, we'll go here then.
All right. Why don't you set this up, sister?
All right. Next, we are going to talk about the new Disney film, Encanto. There you go. All right. So this movie is about a family in Colombia, and they all have special gifts or powers, except for one little girl named Maribel, who, for some weird reason, doesn't get a gift. So she feels left out. And I think for me, this movie was, in addition to the powers and the gifts and all that, it's really about family and what does family mean. It is about the magic that can just come out of everyday life. And it's about a community of people working together. There you go. But really, it's about her not having powers and people treating her weird.
Yeah. It's that too.
It's that too. Okay, what did you think, sir? Give me your thought. We haven't really talked about it.
We haven't talked about it, and I know what you're thinking. What does this white man think of my people? I heard that in your tone.
That's not at all
That's exactly what she says. She kept numerous times told me, I connect this on a personal level. You may not understand because you're a gringo.
I did not call you a gringo. I would never do that. I call you a middle-aged white man.
Oh, that's so much better.
You're the Karens of our generation.
What the heck, man?
I know. I love
Karen is a Karen of our generation. That's this generation. Anyway, too late, jerk. Immigration. Anyway, I enjoyed it.
What were your problems with it?
No, I didn't have problems with it. It just, to me, it was one of those that it was beautiful to look at. It's stunning. The animation is great. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed everything about it. It's a good movie. It's another case of none of the music really captured me. You know, the story was fine, but you kind of know where it's going. I do applaud. I do think it's always better in any of these kind of movies when you get to see some sort of a culture instead of just here's a bunch of characters doing life. In this case, you're really getting a culture element in it. I think it's been done better in movies like Book of Life and
I love
even Coco. I think is better.
Love Coco.
But it's a different story and it's a different element of the movie. But I like that the actors were predominantly Hispanic. John Leguizamo's in it, so he's also awesome always. But I enjoyed the movie immensely. I don't think I connected on it, obviously, like you do, because I'm seeing it from the outside as just I understand the story, thing else. There was something about it that when I left, I was just like, but I couldn't tell you what it is because I didn't hate it at all.
Did you cry?
I did not.
Oh my gosh, I totally cried at the end.
I don't remember the last time I've cried in a movie.
I know.
The last thing I remember crying at is when Arnold took a steak knife.
Babe, that was in the 80s.
And almost was molested by the Maytag man.
Oh my gosh. So to me...
He left Dudley behind.
So to me, I know, you never leave your friends behind. Always go in pairs of twos.
They did go, and then he left Dudley.
You shouldn't leave him.
With his shirt off.
I know. Anyways, Dudley. No. To me, like you said, I totally connected to this on a personal level. It's these people having to move and leave their country behind to go somewhere safe to find a new home. So that's the immigrant story that so many people are dealing with now.
See, and that's the stuff I thought was a clever way of doing this story, telling the story of that, because you wrote the review on this one because you saw it before I did. And reading your review and seeing that, it kind of planted a seed in my brain that I might not have caught. Because I know that happens very blatantly in the movie, but I don't think I would have looked at it like that. Initially, I would have looked at it more like these fantasy films are like, okay, they moved away and they found this better place, and as opposed to thinking about the immigrants,
they're having to run because of the violence.
I don't think I would have looked at it as that on that emotional level. I would have. It's obvious that they're running and that they're being forced out, and it's not that I'm stupid and like I don't know what's happening, but it's. I don't think I would have connected it without hearing your version of that element as much.
Yeah, and then the idea that home isn't necessarily the country you're in, it's where your family is. And so for them, that's that. And I think the other thing that I wrote about in the review is the communal living of a family, which is not at all what you see in the States. It's very prevalent in Latin and South America. And even on the other side of the world, it still happens. Because I remember we went into a home. These nice people invited us into their home when we were in the mountains in Morocco. And it's like so similar to how my family in Guatemala lives, where you walk into the house and there's like that open patio area, but like this side is one family, that's like each family or brother or sister in the family, they all live in the same communal house.
Do they all live in a yellow submarine?
They all live in the yellow submarine, and they come out to like this open patio cooking area, dining area where they eat together, but each one has their own space. And so that's interesting in this movie. I kept seeing all these doors and I'm like, oh, they're all living together because that's how it is. And I think, bringing light to that, which doesn't make sense to Americans because everybody lives apart, but that's just how that is. And I think part of the sub layer that comes with that is the nosy family and everybody being in your business. And if you remember when we first got married,
I'm aware,
we had to have a major discussion and separation from my family because they were trying to be in our business like Latin parents do.
Well, see, and I think what helped our relationship with that is I grew up around predominantly Hispanic culture. Because my best friend's Hispanic, my Taekwondo instructor is Hispanic. I was always with that world, despite my white man skin, as you like to put it. But I was always around it, so I understood what I was walking into.
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
And
I'm so sorry.
But even now, it baffles me because, like, we'll get into discussions about the family. Like, you're 80-something years old now, and she's still like, I can't do that because of my mom or my dad. I'm like,
the family.
It's
all about the family.
I'm like, you're a 40-something-year-old woman who lives in your own house. Make your own decision.
I know, but you'll see that comes up in the movie. Yeah. Everybody is trying so hard to be what the family thinks they should be.
Where I'm just the opposite. I'm like, I don't care what these people think about me. Like, I don't care what my family, what your family, anybody else thinks about me.
But then that's what hits our main character so hard is they expect her to be like nothing because she doesn't have the gift. And she's like, but I'm still a person. I'm still somebody.
Are you though?
And so through her story, we get the insight and everything is revealed about everyone else, even with their powers, that they kind of feel the same. They feel like it's too much sometimes. So I thought it was a very charming Encanto.
I will say that one of the things that I think Disney misses the boat on sometimes, which is like an issue I had with Frozen and even Moana, is having some of those extra memorable characters that usually you latch on, like in the older days when you'd have, I don't know, the genie from Aladdin, or the teacups, the teacups and stuff from Beauty and the Beast, or the Mushu and Mulan. And, you're used to getting those kind of funny animated characters that stood out, like the parrot in Aladdin as well, like Gilbert Godfrey character. In a lot of these other movies, they've gone away from that idea sometimes, and sometimes that misses the mark. This one doesn't have that. But what it does have is it has a very unique visual look and personality to every character, so it makes each one of them stand out to become memorable.
You kind of have it in Casita.
I didn't have any of that today.
Okay, well, the house.
Yeah.
Is
that's what I'm saying. So every element is an interesting element.
It is interesting.
The big burly chick. You have the kind of the one that deals with floral stuff. She's very pretty and flamboyant. Yes. You have the very stoic grandmother.
And I think that's funny because that's how families are. There's always a character in your family.
Yeah, but and then they made the main character, her just look normal. Is so different from the rest of them. But she's the most relatable in probably your culture.
Yeah.
In look, in her clothes, and everything about her.
She's got little glasses. She's just so cute.
She's got the little flowery stitch shirts.
Yeah, and a skirt. And that's so weird because I won't wear those because I feel like I look too Mexican.
Oh, I'm aware. I heard.
I know.
But she keeps putting me in those stupid Mexican guy shirts.
That's different. That's different.
I used to wear them to church. I don't wear them anymore.
I know, but those are nice.
I finally put my foot down and said, "Woman, I am a middle-aged white man."
I love you. Anyways, I thought the movie
it is a great
charming.
Movie. It just wasn't something that
it's an Encanto.
Is it?
It is.
Okay.
I was encantada with Encanto.
By it?
I was. Right. I was absolutely.
I did not hate it. I did enjoy it. I think I like a little more action in these kind of movies and a little more stuff. And there's some there, but I think it's visually, it's beautiful. It's amazing to look at. The animation is outstanding. Disney's knocked it out of the park again. The story is great. It's one of those kind of things that I can't tell you what my issue was with it because it wasn't an issue enough that made it a bad movie.
I got you.
So I would watch it again.
I loved it. I will watch it probably 10 times and cry every time. There you go.
I didn't cry at all.
I totally
I watched it like, what would you cry at?
The very end of the thing, and I'm like, it was so cute.
Usually when I see these movies separate from her, and knowing she's already separate, I try to figure out the moment she would cry. We should start playing some bets. Like I say, okay, here are the moments did you cry, and then if I got it right, then I win money.
Oh my gosh! Okay,
or
we'll start doing that.
Touch her boobs or something.
That's fine. Let's do that. All right, next.
Y'all heard it right here, live on our show. She said I could touch her boobs.
Babe.
We've been married all this time.
Moving on to the next.
Married all this time. We've been on first time.
Oh wow! All right, our last movie for today. We're moving on to the House of Gucci.
Gucci.
Or Gucci.
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
All right, tell me about House of Gucci, babe.
House of Gucci is a movie by Ridley Scott, starring the Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Jared Leto, Al Pacino, Jeremy Irons, and somebody else.
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino.
Oh my gosh.
It's basically the story of it's not so much the story of what originally the first trailer when it came out, I thought it was going to be a story about the rise of the Gucci Empire. The Gucci Empire has only risen in this movie.
Yes.
This movie is actually about I don't remember his name, but the young Gucci kid, Adam Driver's character, who is not really in the Gucci Empire. He's trying to be a lawyer, and he meets Lady Gaga.
Patricia.
Yeah, who
I'll fill it in for you.
Thank you. Her dad owns a trucking company, and she's more of a poor kind of person. And
I'm going to tell you, trucking company, because we found out.
We didn't find anything out about that.
No, but Al Pacino.
No, Jeremy Irons just says he's like, is it trucks or is it sanitation mafia? So anyway.
You know what? Either way,
but I will tell you that it's really about their relationship and the building of the relationship, and then the rise and fall of not only their relationship but the Gucci Empire in connection to the Gucci family. Because nowadays there's nobody Gucci actually related in the name of Gucci associated with the label Gucci.
Can you believe that? That is crazy to me.
Yeah, Gucci is a brand all its own, has no family members of any kind are connected to the Gucci brand.
Okay,
but the movie plays up very much, even though it's not as twisty and turny and crime-ridden as I was expecting, the way the trailers kind of put it off. Yeah. It still very much feels like something like The Godfather.
Very much. It does, because it's Italian empire type people.
Yeah, you do have betrayal. You do have Al Pacino. Al Pacino. You do have... the shady business, and there's violence and here like that, but it's really more of kind of a straight up love story, and then just kind of the controversies and everything that kind of went along with everything that occurred. If you don't know what occurred, we're not going to tell you. You can watch the movie. What did you think of the movie?
I really enjoyed it. It's not super fast paced.
Not at all.
It's not slow though either. I think it moves just kind of steadily along, steady.
I think it felt like it moved slow. I mean, it moved along very good pace for a long time, and then it slowed down.
Did it for
and
you?
To me, it started kind of like I enjoyed the movie, but it is one that I can see people walking out of it and being like, "The movie's boring."
No, see,
because
for me,
the first
it was
half,
just like a little choo.
Yeah, I thought it humped along really well, and then I think when we finally get to the bigger meat of everything is when it slowed down for me. And it just seems like it kept and I think it's because part of my mind was like, I know what's fixing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
How long are we going to take to get there? Because there's numerous moments. It felt like the end of Lord of the Rings, where we're right there at the end, and then we keep going. Yeah, it's that nonsense. And it was also, I felt the ending was very anticlimactic. But it's also because it's life. They didn't Hollywood it up.
And I thought you would have been proud of me. I actually like one of these movies that's about real life and didn't get impatient.
They didn't Hollywood it up. It's very like, that's it. But that's because that's what happened. Yeah. You know, it's not.
I think, too, the interesting thing for me is Lady Gaga and Adam Driver do such a great job in this movie, you know, because those are two people in the entire planet I would not expect
have chemistry?
To have chemistry, because I don't know that they're even in the same age group, you know.
I think Adam Driver's older.
Is he older than he looks?
I think he's probably in his 40s.
Oh, okay, then they're in the same age group. But man, he does such a good job in this, and just being like,
I don't think he gets enough credit as an actor, because he's done a lot more than Star Wars stuff.
That was a horrible movie.
Yeah,
don't watch that.
And they've all, but I thought he was great in that Marriage Story.
83.
He's 83.
93. 2003.
He's gonna be late 30s.
23, so he's 30 something. She's like in her 40s, right? Yeah, she looks good. Anyways, yes, Marriage Story. I didn't like the movie itself, but I liked him.
And there's a movie he did. What is it called? Where he's a writer.
Patterson.
Such a great movie. Yeah, he's so good in that movie.
I think he's really good in this too, and I think the reason why is because he is kind of the un-Gucci.
He's like the everyman.
He's just normal. He doesn't care about the name, the fame, the money, he doesn't care anything about that. He wants to go to school, be a lawyer, and be his own man. He doesn't want to have anything to do with the family business.
It's that mentality that then makes you question Miss Gaga's
Lady Gaga
mentality of, was she in it for the money? Was she in it for love? Did she have ulterior motives? Because there's an element when you see her at one point, when she realizes who he is, she's interested because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's another element that happens, like, well, there's no way she could have not cared about him.
Yeah, because she wouldn't have gone with him because of what was going on with it. There's no way.
Then when the way everything plays out, and she still wants back into this, then it becomes like, I think I told you in an interview, she said something to the effect that it's after spending time with the information about her and everything else, that it's really about somebody who's not so much a bad person, but she's legitimately fell out of love, and she was angry. And it kind of all encompassed. But as the movie plays out, it's hard to tell that line of greed and love and what the truth really is.
Mm-hmm. And I think, too, when you get involved in these big, high power, maybe families or empire type things, it is hard to tell.
And the same thing can be said for him. Because Correct. As he grew up into the business, his mentality changed.
He changed.
He went from not caring to being one of them.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is you see two people change and go like this.
Yeah.
Instead of coming together.
And can I just say, Jared Leto is the best one in this movie.
He's cray-cray. This movie, he does this in every movie. I don't recognize him in anything. He is completely different in every single thing he does.
But he is essentially the over-the-top comic relief, even though he's not necessarily always funny.
Correct.
He's kind of the black sheep of the family, but he's in the family and he's trying to do stuff for the family, but he's always ignored and discarded.
Yeah.
Like Pacino, he's Pacino's son, and he makes the perfect statement to describe it as characters. He's like, he's an idiot, but he's my idiot.
Yeah.
And I love that dynamic, because you can tell that he's aggravated by everything he does, but he loves him.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that he's just wants to please his father, and he knows he's always insulted, but he still loves his dad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's even a moment where he does something horrible, like that kind of screws everybody over, And even Pacino's hugging, so angry and steaming, but he's like, "You're my idiot," as he knows. But he's like, his love is stronger than what happened, which is kind of cool to see too. Because usually in this kind of stuff, it's immediately like, "Get out of here, loser,"
Yeah, Pacino's good too. I mean, he's Al Pacino, but
he looks just like your dad now.
He anything he's in, he brings that air of mafia to it. He can't help it, I don't think. Whether he's Cuban or he's Italiano in this one. He is. I expect him to pull out the.
But you know what I like about him in this one is he is the most likable member of the family from the entire movie he's in, because he's the one that's kind of supportive for everybody, and there's a reason that these two got into what they got into and how they did it.
And he looks like my dad, according to
Mom. He did. As he's gotten older, her dad and Al Pacino started like, and then she agreed because there's a scene with him in the coat. I'm like, look, it looks like your dad.
My dad has that coat.
And she goes, oh my god, it does look like
with the big glasses and the hair. But anyway, my gosh, it is. And then Jeremy Irons is just Jeremy Irons. I mean,
I like his little mustache.
His little mustache.
I will say this is one of those movies that while I did enjoy this movie quite a bit, I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to.
Okay.
It was, like I said, that second part of it's a little dragging. It's great performances. It's just, I think, kind of like you were saying when we came out, I think we thought there was going to be some bigger twists, bigger turns, a little more of like the what moments, as opposed to the very straightforward line. And I'm kind of glad that they did this because it's more like a real story.
Correct.
Instead of feeling like, man, that's crazy. That really happened that way? You believe this.
This is crazy. And then I think we both liked this dude.
I always like Jack Houston.
He's
Jack
cool.
Houston's always good.
And then there's some random players here and there, and they're okay. But I liked it. I thought it was fine. I know there was a lot of stories about Lady Gaga's accent. Now I didn't even pay attention to that. It's not important.
I know that there's every one of their accents kind of come and go. That's part of the course.
Whatever.
But I'm not a fan of her music either. I have a bigger respect for her music after seeing her sing a cappella on a piano on Howard Stern one time and realizing how talented she actually really is. But she's a really good actress.
Yeah, she's doing really good.
Well, before she did that remake of whatever that movie was, the only thing I saw her in was that Machete Kills. And she was fine in it, but I was like, okay, whatever.
That's
but
not
she
even
did that movie that I had no interest in, and then I was like, wow, she's really good in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, now this is another one that she's really good in.
Mm-hmm. I think she is good.
So,
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gags.
Anyways. All right. That's House of Gucci. And I have to go see it in a theater.
Yeah, you can't.
It's only in a theater.
We didn't get to go see the other one we were going to watch this week, but we'll try to go see it this week, which was the new Resident Evil movie. So we'll probably try to talk about it next week.
Yeah, I need to.
So I guess that's it. Then,
all right.
Do we have anything else?
No, that's it. So you have to tell me what's going on over there with you.
All right. So what do we got for the contest world? Oh, no, I'm talking about this first, right?
Yes.
This was another small week. I think because of shifting into the new month, there's not a lot of big stuff coming out. The Heaven Can Wait movie with Warren Beatty is getting a release. Malignant, the James Wan film that came out earlier during the pandemic. It's getting its Blu-ray release. A movie called Saint Maud, which is a horror film. It says Your Savior is Coming. It says it's a mesmerizing horror masterpiece. It's coming. Blood for Dracula, which is an old movie. He's getting a 4K release. And beyond that, I think that's pretty much it. There's another Warren Beatty movie, Reds. I believe it's getting the 40th anniversary Blu-ray release as well.
Okay.
That's pretty much the big stuff.
Okay. So coming on Monday, that'd be tomorrow, to Netflix. It's called 14 Peaks, Nothing is Impossible. And it's this man who wants to summit all 14 of the world's largest mountain peaks. Wow. Coming on Tuesday on Netflix, something called The Summit of the Gods. It's a photographer who's climbing Mount Everest.
Well, everybody this week are
climbing movies in Netflix. That's all we got. Then we move into December for Friday.
What about Wednesday?
Friday. Oh, Wednesday. Thank you. Wednesday, December 1st. Coming to Netflix. Netflix has a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at them. The Power of the Dog. I don't even know what this is about. A rancher. Who knows? Thursday on Netflix. Single All the Way. This is going to be so cute. Another one of those Christmas romance movies. So then we get to Friday.
Thank God.
I know what you've all been waiting for. Coming out on Disney Plus, the new Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie, and this one's an animated feature.
Yes, because they're basically redoing the original movie again, but in animated form now, which is smart because those other kids got too old.
Yeah,
and I don't think doing a live action starter. I think this would be better served as animated, which I thought that in the first place.
Yeah,
and the animation,
okay.
The animation looks very much like the book, and the poster has the cheese on it and everything. I'm very excited.
I'm excited for this coming to Netflix. Shaun the Sheep. The Fight Before Christmas. I'm a Shaun the Sheep fan. I don't know why. It's the most ridiculous thing, but I love it. Coming to video demand. If you haven't seen it already, now it's available to a wider audience. The movie Dune.
It's going to
with Timothy Chalamet.
This is the movie that I keep asking we need to watch, and you keep going, I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll watch it.
Well, you're not going to tell them because it's a Netflix movie.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not? Oh, I thought it was limited.
Coming to Netflix. This looks kind of cute. A little movie called Mixtape. It's about these people in a mixtape. Everything else, I believe, is limited release.
Scroll back up.
This one?
No, that one. This one? That one I watched.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll talk about it next week. That's it.
We're not going to tell you then. Too bad you don't get to hear about it.
We'll talk about it Tuesday.
All right. I guess she's not going to tell you about anything.
Nope. That's it. I told them about everything.
Yeah. So moving on. I do not have... Oh, I need to know what the things are. The contests.
Okay.
Oh, that was the other one we got to talk about.
What?
Or is it later?
It's in December.
Oh, man, that's that far out? Okay, never mind, because that's that one we watched. All right, what we got? All right, so this week we still got mostly the same stuff. Not a lot of new ones added. We still got copies of Mad Max Anthology on 4K, which is all 4 of the Mad Max films on beautiful 4K. Then we also have the huge Jackman film, Reminiscence. That's on the Blu-ray. Why is nothing showing up over here? Is it on everything?
Yes, you have to put it over here.
Well, you threw it over here. And
I know, but it didn't work.
That's normally where I look, so you got me all thrown off.
I know. I don't like this new version.
We also have the new Donnie Yen movie, Raging Fire, which is really good actioner. The 4K copies of The Outsiders, the complete novel, which a friend of mine posted today was not a good movie, so I had to tell him he was wrong. And I also told him, how dare you have your own opinion? And he goes, yes, how dare I disagree with you? This is how we when somebody disagrees with me, that's usually our exchange. Like, how dare you have your opinion? They're like, how dare I? And we move on. Why? Because we're grown people, and we know how to talk to people. We also have the new animated film, The Monkey King Reborn. I would like to tell you if it's connected to anything, but I do not know. I've yet to find out. So it's animated. Who cares? Just watch it. And also the Blu-rays of I Spit on Your Grave, the new Blu-ray release. We still got some copies of that left.
All right. That's it.
And that'd be it, I guess, yo.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to go find us on Instagram and Twitter. Go check out the website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Don't forget to go to the contest button so you can get all free stuff.
I will eventually have a story I can tell you about the enhanced hearing situation at the theaters actually working.
It didn't work.
So far, I've 0 for 3.
It's pretty bad.
Anyways,
we will talk to you next week.
Peace and love, children. Bye.